I think what was funny about this was, girl, we knew from the moment you stomped out in 2010 and dressed like a stylish penguin, okay? In that tightrope video. You chose Big Boy as a feature. We knew you wasn't with the girls exclusively.
No, she's very a combination of Bugs Bunny in a suit and Bugs Bunny dressed as a woman. That's her whole range of fashion.
Welcome to Keep It, Cricket Media's show about pop culture and politics and what happens when they smack into each other at an alarming speed. I'm your host, Ira Madison III, a television writer and Fall Out Boy fan.
I'm Louis Bertel. I'm a TV writer and Jane Fonda historian.
And I'm Aida Osman. I'm a TV writer and alleged comedian.
Let's get into it.
And we are back with an all-new episode of Keep It. I'm Ira Madison III.
I'm Louis Bertel, and when you said we are back, this time you actually meant it. We.
I meant we.
Because I'm here, Gayle King, fresh off my Meg Thee Stallion interview, still shaking. Hello, back at 5. Hi, guys. It's me, Aida. I'm here. Hello, I missed you so dearly, and I'm happy to talk shit again.
I'm so excited that you are back, if only because the DMs I get from people who are like, no, they're not wondering where you are anymore. They want to replace you.
I know. They're like, girl, we need somebody. We need somebody there at the very least. So with consistency. It's like when mama keep bringing new boyfriends around. And it's like, I don't care which one. I just want a father.
I
just want you to know that when you said
like that.
Since you just brought up Gayle King, when I think of Gayle King still, years ago, I friended music mogul David Geffen on Facebook just to see if I could. And then he accepted, which is already mind-blowing. And then I was like, well, it must not be him. And then the first thing I see is a picture he's posted from his yacht in like Vanuatu or wherever he lives on that giant boat. And his friends on the boat that day are Paul McCartney and whoever his wife is at the time, Oprah and Gayle, which I did not know they went on like yachts together. Anyway, it's always on my mind. And then like a couple of other famous people, but just, wow, Gayle and Oprah really staycation together. I didn't know that.
This is the private lesbian relationship I want to hear about. This is the memoir. This is the Whitney Houston secret girlfriend story I want to hear about.
So this has brought up three things for me. One, Louis, I would completely expect you to be a David Geffen yacht gay.
Does it not fit me?
Wouldn't shock me if I saw you in the background of a photo.
No. By the way, how many fucking schooners have I been on? 0. No invitations.
2, that Facebook story reminds me, I don't know if I ever even mentioned it on here. One time, I think it was with like Mariah was working with like Billy Eichner doing like shit with him.
Oh yeah.
I like commented on a thing and like Billy like responded to me because we're friends with Billy. And then Mariah followed me on Instagram. Mariah Carey followed me on Instagram, must have realized her error because when I went to her page, she was no longer following me.
Wow.
But you could still see the notification. Like
right.
on the page that like Mariah Carey has followed you. So I did screenshot that, and that is even better than being followed by Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey accidentally following me on Instagram and then being like, "Who is this nigga?"
Right, and then instilling fear in Mariah Carey, I believe you did. She backed away from that mistake faster than Loverboy. Yeah.
Wait, pause. I do want to say, so if you're a yacht with David Geffen gay and what are you, Ira? Because I would say I'm like a catamaran with Wanda Sykes gay. So what are you?
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about Janelle Monae and genderqueer celebs, you know, today. And I think
these
I'm
segues.
like,
I missed your
you remember
segues,
the
baby
Well, I feel like since maybe it doesn't count since I like actually have been there, you know, but like I feel like I'm a Kiki at Janelle Monae's like house, like in the hills, gay, you know,
okay,
like a black queer celeb
on land,
you know,
very much so on land.
Yeah, one without a vendetta against me, like Karamo. So
got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who apparently has a talk show that just sold in like 90% of the U.S. or something.
Good for her.
Well, hey, Janelle has a pool. Janelle has that pool. I did come at the very end of that Everyday People party. I did sneak my little
that's
way
that's the party I missed you at, bitch.
I
Always
know.
missing in my life is your theme.
The only time I was ever outside.
The only time Aida was ever outside, she was like, "Wait, you left already?" I was like, "You know what? I had a birthday party to go to."
Yeah, another plane, another bus, another thing, another thing.
My third comment was just going to be that has Gayle replaced Oprah?
Who's Oprah?
The Megan Thee Stallion interview, right? Like the Megan Thee Stallion interview with Gayle. I feel like I was recently talking with people about Wendy Williams and sort of like her place in culture, and we don't really talk about her and Oprah in like the same breath, even though they sort of like are running the daytime game for like black women, right? But like I think it's because Oprah only now does like Harry and Meghan, you know? Like I think like it's Gayle the one who like people go to for that chat, because I feel like Megan Thee Stallion would have been on Oprah back in the day.
I feel like Gayle has assumed the position of doing the like kind of hard hitting revelatory interviews, like the one that my first time really clocking her as that position as a more journalistic expression was with R. Kelly.
Right.
R. Kelly,
And,
Robert.
Yeah.
Robert.
Robert.
Something shifted in that moment. I think Oprah has kind of gone into her spiritual little bag where it's more so, Meg, how do you feel about getting shot in the foot? And Gail's like, girl, what happened? You know?
Also, I just want to say, Ira, you did a brief Oprah impression right there, and it sounded to me like Deborah Wilson's impression of Oprah, which I miss desperately. I think we need it again.
We have so much to get to in this episode, and Miss Aida is back, but
Yes.
also back for the last time.
I know.
For the technically
Technically
the
last time.
Technically the last time. This is like the formal. We're wrapping it up so you guys understand that I've been doing a bunch of other things, and I'm first of all, I love
Everything.
you guys so much.
You
doing
are
a lot.
booked and busy. When people try to act like, where's she at? I'm like, do you not see that
Yeah,
she's
y'all
on set?
know. Y'all know
No.
where I'm at. And I think, but you know, I was reflecting on this as without crying as much as I could. Oh, the little cancer girl. I owe everything that's happening in my career to keep it. And to the things that, you know, we
Don't
talked
say
about.
that.
No, listen, girl, listen. Let me make my little argument, okay? Let me get through it. I have a proof. I have a whole proof I've done. Because the only reason I even started working at Big Mouth and started writing for television shows was because comedians saw me going up in Los Angeles. The only reason I was in Los Angeles was to be working at Keep It and to work at Crooked. So I do think it was an inception point for me of learning that I could be an entertainer in all different types of ways. And it's very fulfilling, very fulfilling. Everything that we've done, just let me.
Oh, this girl.
Every interview has been an opportunity to connect with some of my favorite people in Hollywood. It's been a chance to meet with life-changing women. Our interviews with Gabrielle Union and Drew Dixon have been pivotal for me in understanding who I am as a person, as a black woman, as a non-binary person in the industry. So, girl, I met Issa Rae on this podcast. Like this.
True. You know what?
How
Yeah.
can I say?
Well, to be fair,
every aspect of it.
her camera was off.
Yeah, she met me.
She was wedding planning. She was wedding planning that day already, probably. Trying on dresses while zooming with us.
That's from what I've learned about her. She is the person to do 15 things at once. So that's probably accurate.
Well, I really appreciate that if you gave a mouse a cookie, trail back to Keep It that you gave us. But also, I mean, Jesus Christ, like Ira and I always talk about this. Like the minute you came on, we knew you were going to blow up and do 55,000 other things. So the fact that it's happening now, it's like, well, if it wasn't now, is it going to be a month from now or 2 years ago or whenever? It's happening now, and we couldn't be more thrilled for you.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
so
want
proud of
everyone.
you.
Thank you so. I want everyone in the audience to know too that this is purely just scheduling issues. If I could be here every single week, I would be here. But learning how to balance acting and writing and potentially producing and working on projects like that, it's been so difficult, especially at my young dumb age. So I'm learning. I'm learning how to be a person. I'm learning how to keep existing in this career. And I thank you guys for giving me that space and still holding me dear to your heart.
Keep it going. There you
are. And of course, we'll have you back whenever you are free. When you have to promote rap shit.
Not an interview. Not an interview.
Yeah,
with
the interview.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
I'm so excited
the interview.
We'll see who's Gayle King now. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, listen, Louis don't know I'm gonna make him interview me when my book comes out.
Oh,
I will be
I
the
can't
guest.
wait.
Well,
Maybe I'll have to come back for that one.
I
I'll
might
have
be
to
out of
come
the
back for
country
that
that day. I might be dead that day. Yeah.
Don't make
I can't wait for
don't
this
make
book
me
to
just
come out,
host a
too.
show like I'm Mark Maron.
Oh, right. Or like interview
Both of
yourself
you
a la
gone.
Joe Calderone
Yeah.
and Lady Gaga. Yeah.
Just giving Donald Glover in the recent interview piece.
Oh yeah. Yes. Wait.
Yes.
I couldn't think of who it was. It was him.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
That's an Ira moment for sure. Just
Are you
Black
afraid
shepherding.
of black women, Ira? Well, I'm afraid of my mother. she used to own a gun, so maybe I am afraid of black women.
I do think I'm Afraid of My Mother would be an amazing film noir. So
I'm afraid of my mother.
yeah.
Yeah.
All shadows.
All right.
Casey Lemons need a new movie, anywho. and also I didn't realize, I took it for granted at the time, but with rap shit occupying a lot of my time last year and even now, Keep It was the only reason I could actually process and meditate on what the fuck was going on around us. Like, it had become this place for me to make jokes and stay abreast. Okay. And, really just talk to very, very smart people. The two of you are so intelligent, and that is namely why people come back and keep listening. And you're so funny, and I learned so much from the two of you, and I know we'll continue to keep learning. So again, thank you. And don't expect me to be funny anymore. I'm a serious actress.
Here comes Marianne Cotillard.
Yeah. And what was also interesting too is I saw recently and listened to the podcast where you guys had Judith Light on and Cheryl Lee Ralph, and I just had gotten back from filming a movie with the two of them. And when I tell you, it's like the hyperbolic time chamber of information I learned from just one moment with Cheryl Lee Ralph. I'm a sound woman now.
No, the full circle moment we had was Judith Light recommended the work of some author, I think, and then seconds later, Ira and I realized, oh, you were working with that woman. So it was like you had jumped the keep it time space continuum into pop culture.
Absolutely wild, guys. I feel often like a weird fly on the wall that is critiquing and learning, but also trying to do the thing that I've been saying that Zendaya can't do that well for so long. Like, now I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm like, damn, I was wrong. It was safer for me to be Offset, and it's very actualizing, and it's been hard, and I'm excited to keep learning and keep growing. It's strange to have seen Kiersey Clemons in 2015 in the Dope movie and go, wow, you can be a feminine woman and look like that. And then in 2022, I'm in a film with her, and I play her best friend, and I get to have those conversations with her about how to comport yourself as a young black woman on sets and as a number one or even as a number 5 or whatever your position is on the call sheet. So it was cool. Guys, it's really cool. I'm living life, and I'm very happy right now.
I love it. If this is ER, you're our George Clooney.
That's true.
Aww,
yeah. I'm Sherry Stringfield over here. Jesus Christ, can someone get me? I'm still dealing with my sister Chloe. Yeah.
I just hope I'm Juliana Margulies. I
You
mean,
can be
can't you see me in a long-running beef with someone on a network TV drama? And then
Green
we don't
screening
even
it
shoot
out.
our final scene
Yeah.
together. That's my journey.
That really is among the most unparalleled pop culture moments. I cannot think of anything else like that. Anyway, we can unpack that another day. Love Juliana, of course, and her many SAG awards.
I mean, if we were Hollywood Unlocked, if we were Jason Lee, we would have asked her about it.
Right. Damn it. You suck.
In the season 5 premiere of Facebook Watch's Red Table Talk, Grammy-nominated singer and actor Janelle Monae stopped by to chat with host Jada Pinkett Smith, Willow Smith, and friend of Keep It, Gammy. During their chat,
Us, personally.
I still have Gammy blocked from my Instagram stories.
You have
Do
to.
you?
Gammy don't need to see what I be posting about, but I still want that connection. I want that motherly figure in my life.
Surprisingly, during the chat, they did not talk about the Oscars because we're still waiting for that. We're still waiting for that Red Table Talk episode. But in this one, Janelle Monae said that they now identify as non-binary.
I'm non-binary. Yeah. So I just don't see myself as a woman or solely or, you know, I feel all of my energy. I feel like God is so much bigger than the he woman. Or the she.
And so I believe Janelle Monae now goes as they/she. I have always considered Janelle Monae to be an actual computer.
Sure.
So
I think what was funny about this was, girl, we knew. Girl, we knew from the moment you stomped out in 2010 dressed like a stylish penguin, okay? In that tightrope video. You chose Big Boy as a feature. We knew you wasn't with the girls exclusively.
No, she's very a combination of Bugs Bunny in a suit and Bugs Bunny dressed as a woman. That's her whole range of fashion. Yes.
Period. But I'm so happy that she verbalized it and gave it to us. And then also is using pronouns that are non-binary leaning, which of course there's no like inherent worth to being like I'm she, they. But it's even pivotal that she comes out as they, she. You know,
there's something about coming out as non-binary now that reminds me of the old days of coming out as just gay, which is to say, I'm not afraid for them, but it's like you almost have to explain yourself to people in a way that you once had to do in like the early, like, what does it mean that you're gay? Who do you hang out with? Like, do you have disease, whatever? And now non-binary is, let me read you the dictionary definition of what non-binary is so that you understand what it is I'm doing, who I am, whatever.
And something she probably also had to do in 2018 when she came out as pansexual. And I felt that way coming out. Because for those of us who felt outside of the binary, we always were like, there's this nagging lack of attachment to my gender. I don't know how to address it, but I need somebody to give me the language for it. And once you hear the concept of being non-binary for the first time, it's like, oh, that's what this is, you know? But it does come with a certain set of like, you're frontiering a new path. You have to explain what this means.
Mm-hmm. Baby, when Janelle came out as pansexual in 2018, I mean, I remember everyone being in a state of flux, aeon flux, if you will.
Director Karen Kusama, yes.
Yes, because they were like, what is this word?
Right.
My first introduction to the word pansexual was one of those like, True Life, I'm in love with my car, like something like that, where this man was like, well, I'm pansexual, I like to have sex with my vehicle. And I was like, that's not me. That's not me. That can't be that. And then so
Stephen King actually got me into wanting to fuck my car.
Sure.
Christine is the most erotic film I've ever seen.
And that's fair. And that's your life. And I lift up your truth, Ira.
I actually want to say that people don't fuck cars enough in movies. Like, remember The Counselor?
Oh, girl.
Cameron Diaz just grunting her pussy on that windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And also, was there not a moment when we thought she would be nominated for an Oscar for The Counselor? It's like, guys, let's look back at the history of the Oscars. Do you see much car fucking in there? I don't see Jessica Tandy on top of her Trans Am or whatever.
There's a moment when we thought The Counselor was going to be a good movie, too.
That's true. True enough.
It feels good, like, to have a dark-skinned black person say that they're non-binary. Like, it feels in a way that we as a people have kind of arrived. Because for what it's worth, Sam Smith, Demi Lovato, you know, Amanda Stenberg, I'm so happy that they were the people that kind of paved the road in a public way. But it has never, for me at least, equaled the amount of artistic work that Janelle has done, like living a non-binary lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that is the thing for me too, you know, because whenever I hear a non-binary person discuss, you know, sort of like the fullness of, you know, like being themselves, you know, and like being able to just sort of be like in this speech, you know, like if God, you know, made me, then, you know, like if God is so much bigger than he or she, you know, then like we're everything, you know? And so then, you know, it honestly gets to that weird point where you start to feel like, well, damn, like, should I be? But then I feel like I definitely don't live to the full potential of my life. So maybe I never will be.
Wow. Grim. Yeah.
But you know what? The fact that that's the stage.
I wake up and I just don't want to do it all. Okay. I don't want to be everything.
Maybe next lifetime. Badu's with you. Take your time with it. I'm interested in the shift that's happening in culture where people are taking steps to radically free themselves. And what's interesting too is that sometimes being non-binary isn't necessarily like a identity decision as much as it could be like 80% a political one, where you are rejecting the binary as a whole and you want to be that. You want to represent and exhibit that kind of transcendence. And I feel that coming through in Janelle Monae's explanation of it. A girl was a computer. She half human, half computer. Like you said, she's been pushing this non-binary thing for a while.
Right. Like she came out, like she came on this bitch like, you know, like cyborg as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So the ArcAndroid, I mean, you know, and Jane, like all the computer shit from the beginning, you know.
In fact, no, I think she's going to pull a Grace Jones soon, and in her song, she will actually identify as a sexual car. Warm leatherette, pull up to the bumper, etc. That fits for her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wait. Speaking of, this isn't about non-binary black celebs, but
Fuck
did we
'em.
see?
Yeah, fuck 'em.
Okay, good. Did you see Rothaniel by Jerrod Carmichael, the stand-up special, where he comes out and sort of just sits in it? Like it's not about. And here are the conclusions I came to. It's I haven't come to the conclusions yet. I was wondering what you guys thought of it.
Well, to be fair, he was sitting during the entire thing, so he could do nothing but
comedy.
sit in it.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're getting some information. Well, watching the special was really relieving for me because I did run into Jerrod at a party a couple years ago, and I tried to hit on him, and I was met with zero response, except for, I like your shirt. And I should have known at that moment because I was wearing an Aaliyah shirt. I should have known right there that boy wasn't swinging on my side.
You weren't rocking that boat, if you will.
Listen,
and also,
you don't live in LA if you don't have a friend who had matched with Jerrod Carmichael on Raya in the past few years. Okay, like the girls knew,
right?
The girls do, and it's weird, right? Because I feel like growing up when you would sort of like, quote unquote, know a celebrity is gay, right? It was always just sort of like that whisper network. And then there's the weird disconnect of being in LA and like sort of knowing that someone is gay, but like not actually knowing if like they've ever come out in their like public sphere. So you just sort of don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's this understood thing like, oh, I get access to that because I occasionally go to that bar where he would be. But, you know, I guess some of those people then run around and tell something like du moi. But, you know, the rest of us, you know, dignified boulevardiers of the world, kept it to ourselves.
I loved the special. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was so funny. I will say, though, it is intriguing that he is sort of one of the only people who could do this. And that is because he is a black man. I don't think that anyone else could really use a comedy special to come out like that and have it be a thing. Because I feel like, first of all, if you're a cis man and you are a comedian, like so much of comedy and like the response to it now with a lot of queer comedians, you know, and female comedians is sort of like this response to what's been sort of like a cis heteronormative comedic space for so long. And I feel like if a white man, you know, were just sort of like, oh, I'm gay now, if a white man were like, I'm coming out as gay, but it had like this sort of history, like a Jon Monáe, right? If Jon Monáe came out as gay now, people would be sort of like, excuse me? Or they'd feel some type of way about it, you know, with sort of like, why weren't you telling us, like, you've had a whole TV show where you were straight, you know, you've had so many comedy specials, etc., right? I feel like part of the impact of this is still couched in people's perception that it is harder to be black and gay within the black community.
I totally understand what you're saying. I do think, though, to like your Jon Monáe thing, that it would be part that, like, why didn't you tell us before? I wish that you had been at that stage in your life, but also it would just feel like self-masturbatory. I don't know why.
Yes, it would feel sort of self-masturbatory, but for Jerrod, I feel like maybe it's just also the way people were responding to it. I felt like a lot of the responses were a lot of like, oh, we're glad that this black person, you know, can overcome like the homophobia like within his community and family.
And to the untrained eye, like Jerrod is a mask presenting, straight presenting person. So for him to do it, for me, I think the people like that, of course, Lil Nas X has done his work, but people like that, that's when I think, again, like with Janelle Monae, like we've arrived. We've gotten to the place where I feel like there's a level of equilibrium and equality, and anybody looking like anything can start to speak their truth. And I think what was beautiful about it too was that in the special, like you were saying, Louis, he's in a place of ambivalence about it. He's in a place where it's created turmoil in his family. It's created turmoil with his mother.
It cleared up my relationship with all my black homegirls. My friend Ashley told me before I came out, she could sense it. She was like, please just tell me you're gay so this all makes sense.
And now we get to kind of watch that unfold as he recreates his identity. And like the moment I knew that this was really transformative for queer culture and for us was him hosting SNL, and you see now he's dressing himself differently. He's presenting jokes differently.
He looked great.
He looked sexy as hell. But
baby, the queer glow up is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what's beautiful is he is uncomfortable being comfortable. As somebody who's been a diehard fan of Jerrod Carmichael for years now, he's one of the main reasons I decided I wanted to do stand-up. Like, I saw this guy who was pensive and kind of, you know, apathetic, but still cool and black. And I was like, you know what? I see myself in this person, and I could do this too. And so I do hold him very dear to me. Now,
It is a lot in the way that we grow up, you know, and like just sort of like how we're conditioned. And it is sort of like very freeing, like seeing, you know, like celebrities sort of come out and sort of accept and sort of like explain their truth to us. Because I feel like, you know, that's sort of how I felt as a kid seeing celebs come out as gay, you know, and now this is a new thing where, you know, it's like it's helping younger people definitely, but I feel like, you know, maybe it's even helping people our age too, trying to figure out who they are. What's interesting, it's like it's not even the same thing, but it's like I saw a fantastic stand-up show last night in New York, Alex Edelman's show.
I love Alex Edelman.
I love Alex Edelman. He is so sweet and like so fucking funny. And when I saw his show, his show is basically about the time that he went to sort of like a white supremacist meeting, you know, of like anti-Semites, like to find out what it was about. Right, as one does. And him acknowledging the privilege of him being able to do that. It's like he's a white, like presenting like a Jewish person, like who's like white, you know. But what's interesting too is like when he talks about like, you know, like being like religion and growing up in this stand-up special, he's like, you know, like in like if a different religion or like a different time, like maybe I'd identify as bisexual, you know, but he's like, but there's a joke where he says like, now, you know, I identify as straight, but he's like, I grew up in Boston, so I would identify as straight with a couple of secrets. Which is also, such a funny joke, but also like another thing in that realm of sort of like expressing fully like who you are as a person, but who's able to do that based on their upbringing and what community they're in. I
would say what I think something about this special that's particular, and I think speaks to what you were saying about why only a black man could deliver it is very specifically melancholy. By that I mean I can't think of another comedy special, even like Nanette. You come in and that's a pretty raucous atmosphere, you know, like she's going for broad jokes initially, but the vibe of this is very we're sitting like there's jazz music playing. Bo Burnham directed it. It's this very like kind of lush looking special, and it starts with some jokes that are mostly pop cultural, which is really how you can tell he's gay, because they were all like ending on "and this lady," which I understand, of course, but the fact that it then moved into a space of just I'm sitting here, and I think the audience is mostly black, and it turns into kind of a conversation between the two of them too. It made his coming out feel sort of like intramural, like, you know, it's like here I am just talking with other black people, talking about my family too. So it was interesting how he kind of couched the coming out in his upbringing and what to do with it now that he lives up and around these people in, I guess, New York City. Yeah, it was just, it was a one-of-a-kind experience. But I will say, if you want to hear him be hilarious, I would recommend, honestly, rewatching the SNL monologue that I thought he nailed about Will Smith.
It's so fucking funny.
By Friday, I made a vow to myself. I promised myself I would never, ever talk about it again. Then Lauren came into my dressing room.
And that was so of the moment too. Like I almost feel bad in a way that the comedy of that moment may dissipate because it's about just the Will Smith thing. So you might think, oh, this is dated now or something. It's still so funny.
It's so
Yeah,
funny.
it was
and
like-
he was like obligated to address that too. And I
Yeah,
think
right,
he had
right.
like 3
but
days
made
to
jokes
write
about it
that.
at the end, and it like was one of the best jokes we'd heard about it too.
Yeah.
You know, I also do want to touch on the fact that Bo Burnham did direct this, and if there's one person who does melancholy and like comedy well, it is him. Because I mean, like I feel like one of the last fucking specials I saw that like rocked me was like Bo Burnham's Inside Bo Burnham, like his pandemic comedy special.
Yeah, yeah. Which, again, I think Bo Burnham is helping to shift what the structure of a stand-up special can be and what the medium can give to audience members. And, you know, I do still have some critiques of the special as a whole. I didn't like the jokes. I didn't like most of the jokes. I felt like they were, but this is not without intention. I do feel he was trying to make it like we're in the living room with him and he's just telling us a story about his life. But as somebody who appreciates like pithy, sharp, clever writing, I didn't receive that from Jerrod, which is kind of something I'd been accustomed to as a listener from his first special Love at the Store and his HBO special 8.
Those are so funny. The SNL monologue is so funny, and it's great that it came like the same weekend as Rothaniel because it wasn't funny, and it's sort of it's funny how like when there were the critiques of like the net where it's like it wasn't funny, then it's just getting into this like misery porn at the end. I'm like it starts out with jokes, like you called it raucous like a few minutes ago, Louis. Like it starts out with like the jokes and like pithy and like I'm doing stand-up jokes, right? And there was a moment where it shifted from like the pop culture takes of the day to I'm just telling a story, and it felt more like story time, which or storytelling, which is a form of like like stand-up and comedy, but it didn't feel like a comedy special.
I would also say to Aida's point, I think what happens in the special is he basically sort of gives up on overly explaining himself and like because the audience starts interacting. And I actually think if he filled that with more material, it would have been more effective because I think we were supposed to sort of like stew in the like in the pensiveness. And I think we did that for maybe a few beats too long. That's what I would say about that.
Yeah, and I'm like very sensitive to kind of gratuitous looking off and looking at the camera and
a little
moment.
Yeah,
to
it was
pause.
kind of performed earnestness
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little self-indulgent towards the end, which also makes sense though with the direction because like as much as I loved Inside, there were certain points at the end of like Inside where I was sort of like, Bo Burnham, it's actually time for you to wrap this up.
Yeah, girl, it's over.
Like you're like I get it, you're trapped in your apartment. We all are.
Me too, bitch. I'm a hermit too, bitch.
Chop chop.
But as like someone like me who instead of like hating things or being irritated by the performative nature, I'm gonna try and make it about what it feels like to come out as a gay person.
Yeah.
Like maybe those moments of forced earnestness is like me trying to get you to understand like how serious this feels but isn't. How colloquial this needs to be for you to understand. That's why I'm gonna just make jokes like you're sitting with me and I just thought of them right now rather than have this feel like a packaged thing that I'm giving you. It's just my truth. It's my life.
Of course. I mean, and I think if anything, like something like that from like a black man too, seeing that, it's just been, like it felt very much needed. It felt very much like something that I connected to, and it just sort of, I don't know, it makes you want to be more honest in your own like comedy and truth telling and stories,
Really? For me, it makes me want to take it all back so I can have my own special coming out as non-binary and pansexual. I fucked up. I gave it to the girls too quickly. Now I have nothing.
I'm like, let me burn some of these podcast episodes so I
Please.
can, like come out in this book, be a bit more truthful. Be like,
Exactly.
Can I go in? Can I go? A lot of actors have done that. Which actor did that recently, Louis? Which
Say it
one
again?
did that?
Came back in the closet?
Yeah, came back. Came out. He's out now. The action one. Always just with his boy. He was in Dracula. Always just with his man on Instagram now. Luke Evans.
Wait, is he the one that gave that Advocate interview all those years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And
Right.
then went back in the closet, and now he's just always on the beach with his man in a Speedo.
So everybody wins. Great.
Okay, I would like to use my last episode of Keep It to formally say I am no longer non-binary. Janelle Monae went in. I am coming out the other way. It's one in, one out.
That's the
okay?
policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how we keep it fresh.
Yes. You were like, none of that computer shit for you. You are a
Yes.
manila folder.
Catch me in a couple years. I'll be Elliot Paging, girl. Just wait. Just wait. Guys, we did it. We did our final Keep It Together. Watch me be like, can I guest co-host next week?
I mean, listen, also, you really have, like, made your mark on this show. We're really going to miss you. And we're also letting our listeners know we're not doing the guest host merry-go-round sweepstakes anymore. You know, Keep It will just become Keep It with Ira and Louis after this. How could we possibly replace you?
Stop.
Sincerely, it would feel contrived. You are one of a kind, and the amount of questions I get about you just from people on the street being like, "What's up with her?" And the answer is always everything, and it's a thrill that everything is happening.
She's everything, everywhere, all at once.
All at once.
Everything, everywhere. Aida at once.
Aida, the third Daniel. Guys, thank you so much. This has been a blast and amazing. I want to say something years of my life, and I love you dearly. I will support your career and be around for every moment of it. And just thank you. And also, Rap Shit premieres. I have to plug now. I have to be one of those girls.
Please.
Hey.
Rap Shit premieres in July. And, of course, you guys hopefully will be at the premiere right there with me. So we'll see. We'll see.
Listen, if there's one thing I associate with Rap Shit, it's Louis Vuitton.
Oh,
yes,
please.
Exactly. The rapping is shit.
You know my favorite rapper is Madonna.
Madonna. I know. I got a lawyer and a manager, an agent, and a chef.